Well, half the country is 0-1 after game one, but tonight in Raleigh, we've got a couple of unbeatens. Abilene Christian, fresh off a win at Oklahoma State, is in town looking for another Power 5 win against the ACC's NC State Wolfpack. Hello, everybody. We welcome you courtside here at PNC Arena. I'm Andrew Sanders alongside NC State legend Scott Wood. And Scott, what a fun matchup this is. Two defenses that love to turn you over.
Yeah, and they do it in two different ways. Abilene Christian pressures more in the half court. They're trying to deny. NC State kind of picks you up full, so it's going to be really interesting to see.
Well, Mo Diarra had his debut for NC State Monday against the Citadel. One of 6 players to make their debut for head coach Kevin Keatts, and got off to a nice start at double-double.
That's one of the things he brings. You see an offensive rebound, put back. He brings high energy. He can space the floor, knock it down to 3 here, as well as on the defensive end. Altered some shots and blocked them. Really good job by him in the first game.
And for the Wildcats in Stillwater, get the Dasani bath there. Celebration.
That's what it's all about. They played a great game. They were able to close it out in those last 2 minutes there. That's what you come there to do.
Arion Simmons had a double-double to do it all forward for ACU. And away we go, Wolfpack and Wildcats. NC State with the first possession. This is DJ Horn, the transfer from Arizona State. NC State in the home white. DJ Burns. He started 6 for 6 on Monday, and he wastes no time getting the Wolfpack on the board. And here is that pressure you talked about.
Yeah, now that first offensive possession, that's one of the things NC State did really good in the first game. They got a paint touch, kicked it, and then DJ Burns just knocks down a little mid-range, which we've seen him do many times.
Ali Dibba on the catch. Now McNeil, the point guard. Cameron Steele can shoot the 3. Over 41% last year, the 6'8 senior. That's going to be a fun matchup on this end. He has to guard Burns inside. On the other end, Burns is going to have to guard him out there.
Yeah, they're going to have both of their hands full. I know DJ's going to have to step out and really cover him from 3, but the same thing on this end. As you see, he steals inside, so they're both going to have their hands full for sure.
DJ says, hey, you're going to have to guard me too, pal.
Exactly. Old Mark Gottfried reference.
NC State 4-3. Barely a minute gone. Hunter Jack Madden gives it up to Arion Simmons. He'll try a 3 in front of DR. Way off.
A little bit early in the shot clock. That's one of the things Coach Tanner probably doesn't want to see, especially knowing NC State wants to run it back.
Coach Keatts in his 7th season, coming off a trip to the NCAA tournaments. And as we mentioned, 6 guys making their debut for him on Monday. NC State getting to see a lot of these new players, and the fan base has to be excited about what they saw.
Yeah, they played really well, especially against the Citadel. Obviously, as the season goes on, you're going to see more and more out of each one. They each bring something unique, which is something Kevin Keatts is going to need going forward.
The Butler transfer, Jaden Taylor, sinks them both. He's a really intriguing 2-way player for NC State. Morcell got the ball, also got him with the body. And Kavion McLean will go to the line to shoot 2. We'll take another look.
Yeah, that's one of the things we said, you know, NC State really likes to pressure in the full court. McLean, really quick, shifty guard, able to get going, get downhill. Obviously getting fouled at the end and taking a little bit of punishment, but he gets an opportunity to get 2 free throws here.
McLean running the offense?
I think that's one of the keys, especially in this game, is can they handle that pressure? The Citadel, especially early on, kind of struggled against NC State's pressure. So if ACU can really handle it, they're going to have good opportunities in this game.
Abilene Christian was up by as many as 18 in Stillwater, and then they had some struggles handling some pressure.
Especially those last 2 minutes. Oklahoma State really turned it on, tried to pressure them a little bit. They struggled to get the ball in bounds, and they were able to crawl back in the game.
Jaden Taylor's been aggressive. He'll go to the line for 2 more. And both of these teams love to turn you over. You get a look at what NC State's been able to do under Kevin Keatts. And I know you think that their defense can be even better this year in terms of, maybe not in terms of first in the ACC and forcing turnovers, but just in general the versatility and the different guys that they have at length.
Yeah, they got a lot of depth. I think they can legit go 10, 11 guys if they need to. Very similar to Abilene Christian. They played 11 guys in their first game out, so they're able to pressure, they're able to get bodies in and out, and they're able to do it going hard at all times.
$15 to shoot. This is Dibba, leading scorer in Stillwater. Lost it off of his body, says Ramey Steins.
That was a good defensive possession. They did that against Oklahoma State the first play of the game, ran that backdoor action. I think it was DJ Horn on the wing, did a good job of staying home.
Third-year head coach Brett Tanner, prior 8 years as the associate head coach under Joe Golding. Couple of NCAA tournament trips during that time. And he said, look, this is easily the most difficult non-conference schedule that we've ever played, right? They start in Stillwater, now they're here in Raleigh. And a chance for another Power 5 win. That could be huge for the Wildcats.
I'd say they've handled it pretty well so far.
Morcell to the basket for 2. You have to think that gives them so much confidence, right? I mean, this is a team that a couple years ago, and they've got some veterans that was on that team a couple of years ago that beat Texas in the NCAA tournament. So they've got that NCAA tournament experience, but also just to start the year off with a win in a hostile environment. Steal by Taylor. And he missed the lay-in.
Really good job by him, unable to finish, but getting in that passing lane, being able to create an opportunity for NC State.
Had Aiden Agahan contesting his shot, the 6'10 senior, former ACC player at Louisville. This is Hunter Jack Madden, and that's what he did in Stillwater. He knocked down some big shots down the stretch to help him to the win.
Yeah, he's a really good shooter, had a really good first game. I think that's one of the things we need to see, especially when they get some paint touches, being able to kick it and knock down those open shots, because then it'll kind of spread out NC State a little bit more, especially because they want to go inside out.
Madden with 14 points in the opener. Burns to a cutting DJ Horn. Left-handed floater is good. Did they wave off the basket? I was blocked out, Scott.
I couldn't tell either if they counted it.
Blocking foul. It's going to be an and one opportunity here for Horn.
Yeah, I think he was inside the semicircle. Yeah, he had his back foot on the line. But that's one of the things that we had mentioned as well. You know, if NC State can make some open shots, obviously DJ is going to get a lot of attention. They do a good job on the initial defense right there. DJ Horn just cuts, and DJ, being a great passer that he is able to find them on that cut.
So Horn with the three-point play. Michael O'Connell in for NC State. What a game he had in his debut. Made 4 of 5 threes. And also had 7 assists.
Played a great game. Again, he brings that energy. Very similar to Diarra. I think they're going to be a really good piece for NC State.
Diarra guarding Steele, operating on the block. Burns. I told you last game he was going to shoot a couple threes this year. That's the first try in his NC State career, but Dibba gets a run out. JVC comes flying in for the rebound just into the game for Abilene Christian.
That's good energy. You know, see, hustles back, doesn't think that he's going to finish in transition, able to get the rebound. And again, these are extra possessions that you need, especially in a game that could end up being close at the end.
Tough move by Dibba, took some contact, no whistle. McConnell looks to push.
And that's going to be their game. They solid defensive possession, able to get it pushed in the run. DJ Horn, a good shooter that he is, gets a good look.
NC State leads it by 5, but the Wildcats have come out shooting it well from deep, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, especially watching the Oklahoma State game. They didn't make a ton of them because they really want to play inside out. But again, I think because they want to go inside, be able to kick, if they can make a couple of those shots and open some things up, that's going to make it easier, especially down the stretch, to give it to some of those big guys down low.
I like to
Have a look at the WAC preseason poll, and Abilene Christian checking in at number 5 in that preseason poll. They finished 10th in the WAC last year, an uncharacteristic year for them. They've won 20-plus games in 4 of the last 5 seasons, and they have that good continuity on their roster. So they're a good bet to maybe even finish a little bit higher this season.
They had a down season last year for sure, but they've got some really good upperclassmen. They've mixed in some really good shooting with some really good big men, which is a good combination to have.
Going to give Simmons a low post touch. Good contest by Diarra. Yehan misses the hook shot, and then Middlebrooks is playing his first minutes tonight for Coach Keats, gets the rebound. Well, we saw Casey Morcell. He might have been the first guy out here in pregame warmups working on his shot, and that one goes in.
Yeah, his shot was a little bit flat, I thought, in the first game. You know, Michael O'Connell does a really good job, again, just pushing the tempo a little bit, getting that paint touch, bringing the defense in. Casey's patient, steps through, gets a nice rhythm jump shot. It helps that he got a layup to start the game, get that confidence up, and get a good start to this game.
Speaking of confidence, the Wildcats from 3. They're 3 for 4 as Emmanuel Allen puts it in. Well, Morcell, as you said, he's seen the ball go in a couple times now.
That's all it takes is see one go in early, and it makes it a lot easier the rest of the game. But I think it also, you know, to him, that he was out here first early on, was the first one out here working on his game. So he was ready for tonight.
That's what you used to do.
A long time ago.
So you touched it last. It'll be the Wildcats' NC State possession.
Yeah, they just got to do a little bit better job. They're getting in those paint touches, but especially when the defense is helping in there, they're getting a hand on the ball. You got to be able to kick that to the corner and try and get that jump shot.
What are your early impressions of this game, right? NC State leading by 6. Obviously, the Wildcats right now, the 3-ball is carrying them.
Yeah, they've done a good job of knocking down some shots. Honestly, I think it's a little bit kind of uncharacteristic of them, is that they want to start getting the ball in the post, especially against Oklahoma State. That's one of the things that they did early on. So I think once they can kind of get to that, mixing in a couple threes here and there is a good start for them.
Middlebrooks. Well, he can hit that shot. But NC State so far has been cold from 3. The Wolfpack 0 for 4.
And he's going to be able to get that when he wants, especially with him and DJ on the floor at the same time. When he's setting that pick and pop action, he's going to be able to space it out to the corner.
Freshman Dennis Parker with the kick ball there. Spoke of NC State's depth, and Burns is out there along with Taylor, the other 3 coming off the bench. Allen. Got a great look from the top of the key.
Well, that's Simmons doing a great job of setting a really good screen on, I believe it was Taylor. Knocked him down the ground, but again, that's the type of looks that you want. Coming off of a screen, feet set, open, uncontested. You got to live with those. And there's the pressure that Abilene Christian wants to apply. And a good job of getting out of the trap, and Middleton creating afterwards.
Allen lost his shoe. How about the size of Middlebrooks, right? He just missed the 3. He told you he can hit that shot. He took about 2 steps. Got the contact and the continuation.
Yeah, I think he brings a unique dynamic, especially him and Duar are a little bit different. They can play to 4, they can play to 5, but I also think they're really good complements to DJ Burns, which is ultimately what they need.
In what ways do you see them complementing him?
So I think both of them can spread the floor. I think especially when DJ's on the floor, he's not one that's going to really space it. Even though he says he's going to shoot some 3s this year, you need a couple guys that can space that floor, especially when he's going to get so much attention.
McLean with an open jumper from the ACC logo. Able to hit that, but it's a 7-point NC State advantage.
I think NC State a couple times has just got lost on defense, like even right there. They shouldn't be giving up an open look, especially on the ACC logo. Yeah, I might need to see that one again. I think I will slightly disagree. That looked like he was set there. Yeah, I think I'd give that to him.
NC State asking for the basket to count. Going to get Horn back in the game. Nasir DeGru has checked in, the sophomore from New Orleans for ACU.
I think Taylor's been much more aggressive, especially attacking the basket early on in this game.
Had a lot of success there. Big part of why NC State's already built this 10-point lead. And not just him, Morcell, Middlebrooks, they've been able to get to the rim.
And Taylor's doing a good job hounding the ball. Close to 5 seconds.
Wolfpack showing off that pressure defense. A foul on Middlebrooks will take us to our under 12 timeout. And these 5 transfers for NC State, I think, all making nice impressions on Monday.
Yeah, I think all of them brought something to the table, especially that first game. I think that's one of the things that can make NC State dangerous. It's hard to really game plan for a group collectively that can all score the basket. So they've got potentially, 5 guys that can average double figures. So anybody, any night can be the guy.
Those 5 guys already have 13 points tonight. Most impressively, 7 from Taylor, who's also picked it up on the defensive end.
Yeah,
he takes a lot of pride in that. Allen to the rim with a nice reverse.
There's that first play they had against Oklahoma State, getting those back cuts. That's where NC State, Abilene Christian's using that pressure against them to be able to get those back cuts, so they got to stay home a little bit.
So Allen already with a quick 5. He did not score against Oklahoma State, their leading scorer from last season. Meanwhile, I feel like a broken record here with Jaden Taylor, and I think NC State is just fine with that, right? Taylor to the rim again, getting fouled.
Yeah, in attack mode. Already shot 5 free throws. NC State has shot 7 on the day, so obviously they're trying to make a point to get to the hole and force the officials to make a call.
Taylor averaging just shy of 13 points per game last year with Butler as their leading scorer. He had 18 against NC State when they played in the battle for Atlantis. So they got a chance to see firsthand just how good he is. And on the other side, he got a chance to see the style of NC State, the way that they play, the culture, and the family atmosphere, and it got his attention.
Yeah, that's one of the things that he's known of, is always being a scorer. And I think especially tonight, one of the things you're seeing, especially him being the primary on-ball defender of the point guard bringing up, he's doing a good job of applying pressure and making Abilene Christian really start their offense out.
I think a really big addition when you think of Casey Morcell and what he can do on the defensive end. Now you've got another guy that can lock you down.
Yeah, and I think all of them, especially tough shot.
As I say, Morcell with a hand in his face, and Allen still able to score it.
That's about all you can do right there. That's really good defense, but a tough bucket right there for sure.
Burns. Oh, spin move. How did he do that?
I have no idea. A little bit saucy from the big man right there, showing off those guard skills.
He is one of the most fun players in the country, no doubt about it.
Great personality, but NC State's got to do a better job. I know it was a great move by DJ, and the crowd's going crazy, but you got to do a good job of getting back, stopping the ball, and then ultimately you got to get the defensive rebound.
Leonardo Bezio with a bucket on one end and a block on the other. Trying to cut into this NC State lead and throws it to Ernest Ross on the bench. All right, Scott, you got to break this down for me.
I don't know how you do it. You see a big guy doing a spin move, starting from the three-point line, off balance, left-handed. I don't know if that's a floater or a sky hook, but it still counts for 2.
I think he wanted the call after, too. He's saying, look, part of the reason I was fading away is because I got pushed.
Big fella was a little bit off balance, but again, he just has such good touch, especially around the rim. You almost expect him to make those.
Burns already with 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting. 15 to shoot for Morcell and NC State.
And DJ's trying to get a deep post touch there, but they do a good job keeping it away from him. Then Abilene Christian does a good job of forcing a tough shot. Just got to finish with the rebound.
5 seconds on the shot clock. It'll be O'Connell to trigger it in from the baseline. Betziol comes out.
Especially in the exhibition, NC State had some really good baseline out of bounds play. So if Abilene Christian can pay attention, they've got a couple quick hitters out of this.
They got a Gahan in there to guard Burns and be a rim protector. One to shoot for O'Connell.
I don't know if he tipped that or if he just rushed it a little bit, but DJ did a good job of slinging that, and I think that was a good job by Simmons of recognizing late shot clock, forcing the ball to get out of his hand.
And because it is a shot clock violation, it does allow NC State to set up its press. DeGrew, the transfer from LSU Eunice, spent 1 year there. Now out in the heart of Texas. DJ Horn fouling Dibba as he was in the process of coming to get the ball.
And there I'd just be a little bit more cautious. Dibba's not known to be an elite shooter, so maybe let him have that catch. He really wants to get downhill. I feel like he kind of wasted a foul there. Just let him get the catch and then keep him in front. Good box out by Casey Marcel there. I think he drew the foul.
Yeah, Allen was being boxed out, and it was Allen who fell down, but he's also whistled for the foul.
I think they got Casey listed at 6'3", but for his size, he's a really good rebounder, especially on the offensive and the defensive end.
It's going to result in 1-and-1 free throws here. So NC State into the bonus with just over 9 minutes remaining in this first half.
And this will be their 10th and 11th free throws already in the game. Coach Tanner's talking with the official. They just got to do a little bit better job of showing their hands, especially now that you know they're in the bonus. You don't want to get any ticky-tack ones.
See, it was a point of emphasis as NC State did not get to the line a lot against the Citadel compared to the Bulldogs on Monday night.
And especially
a lot of success there.
You lose Jarkel and Jaquavion, who draw a lot of fouls as well. Great pass in transition. And again, I think that just came out a little bit flat. If he could get a little bit more arc, I think he makes that.
What a finish by DJ Horn. High off the glass over Gahan. Timeout, ACU. DJ Horn with an offensive rebound and a nice take to the rim.
Yeah, and he's known for being a shooter. I think he shot 41% last year at Arizona State. Didn't have a great shooting performance, but I think these are the things that he brings to the team. He brings leadership. Obviously, he's been around for a while, so he knows how to play the game. Gets the offensive rebound and finishes, so he'll be a big piece going forward.
Wearing the number 0 for NC State. Last couple years, Terquavion Smith wore that number. And I think right there with that nice left hand, a little reminiscent of Baby T.
Baby T loved the left hand. Very athletic, jumping off the right foot as well. And I don't
shot NC State will give up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best shot, especially because NC State wants to run, and that gives them an opportunity to get the rebound and really push it. Got to be a little bit more selective on taking good shots.
Burns too good. He loves going over that right shoulder.
And if I was guarding him, which I would not be able to do very well, you got to get him to turn to the right. He really wants to get to the left, and I know a lot of people have been trying to figure him out and haven't been able to find much success on it, but really force him to go the other way.
Simmons. Foul on Diarra. It'll take us to our break. Nice start for NC State, up 14. shooting tonight, and we anticipated that he might have 4 field goals tonight. In doing so, he reaches 200 for his career, which is significant because it qualifies him for the all-time career leaders at NC State. And you see the field goal percentage is elite in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good group of people to be on. He's always been really, really efficient. He's missed 1 shot today, which happened to be a 3. So I think as long as he stays closer to the paint, that number will continue to go up.
Yeah, some great names on that list. DJ Funderburk was here just a couple years ago. TJ Warren, of course, ACC Player of the Year. Chucky Brown, great player and a great guy too.
Yeah, lucky enough to play with TJ Warren for a year. Obviously an elite scorer, which is kind of impressive that he's a wing guy on that list. So a lot of really good names.
Simmons was fouled by Diarra to take us to the break, and he missed them both.
Good job of making DJ get a post touch really far out.
Well, Igahan was doing what you said, right? Trying to force him to go right. He did.
You have to, and I think too, you got to remember he's a very good passer, but it's going to be much more difficult for him to make passes coming from the right hand. So I think it eliminates a lot of things that he does well, forcing him to that offhand.
Now matched up with Steele. Double team comes immediately. And he's got that fall away. He's just so skilled. I mean, anywhere inside 15 feet.
I just don't know what you do with that, honestly. He's able to create space with the fadeaway, shoot a high, little soft touch. It's just hard to defend.
He leads all scorers with 10. McConnell got a tip on that. Madden back out to Steele. Allen's had the hot hand, in and out. Halfway around and down.
I think those are the shots that they're willing to take. A good open look. I'm sure coach is telling them, hey, those are shots we're going to make as the game goes on. This is the second time they've run that baseline out of bounds. Both times Simmons is trapped, but again, just so smooth.
Great awareness. He knows where the double team is coming from, turns away from it. And that's unguardable if he's going to make that shot. Yeah. And as we just showed you, right, he makes a high percentage of shots.
I have no idea who on this planet would be able to guard that.
Maybe Wemby?
Maybe. He could definitely alter the shot, but he shoots it so high, I still think he can get over him.
Well defended by Diarra, and a good box out by Middlebrooks.
That's something ACU really wants to do. They want to throw the ball inside, but I think the length and size of NC State's giving them some fits right now.
Tough shot for Horn, not there, and Morcell comes flying in for the rebound. Two foul shots.
Just great effort. Extra possessions, going back to the line. Those are things that, as a coach, you love to see. Multiple efforts by 2-3 different guys to create an extra possession.
Diarra coming off a great debut with the double-double. 10 points, career high 14 rebounds. He also had 3 blocks, which was a career high for him.
Yeah, he just brings elite energy. I think that's one of the things, especially seeing him in a couple practices this year. He brings it every night, and especially when you have a coach over there. One of the things you don't want to have to worry about is effort, and you know you're going to get that from him.
Davion McClain. Betziel, I thought, gave the Wildcats 10 good minutes in their opener against Oklahoma State. He's back in the post. Allen forcing the issue, and boy, Diarra, that's going to be his second foul. He's played his case saying, hey, I went straight up.
I think he went straight up, but then I think when the contact hit him, I think he brought his hands down just a little bit. I think by rule you have to.
I mean, Technically, his arms are not straight up, but he didn't contact him with his arms at all.
Yeah, I think he's got a legit case there.
Well, on Sunday, Lehigh taking on North Carolina on the men's side. That's at 2 o'clock. Followed by a women's basketball triple header. 17th ranked Louisville hosting DePaul, and then North Carolina hosting Davidson. All games will be on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. So a couple of free throws, but still, you look, a 16-point advantage for NC State.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just them being a little bit more aggressive right now. They're also getting to the line.
But the dime from DJ Middlebrooks is there to clean it up.
It was a great pass. I mean, ACU did a good job of getting their hands on the ball, but Middlebrooks, again, just bringing a second effort.
This is a Wildcats team that really frustrated Oklahoma State defensively. Defense is their backbone as Bettiol has a nice move.
Good spin move. Oklahoma State game, they actually called that for an offensive foul. They got him on the hook, but a good move.
Wolfpack knocking on the door of 40 first half points. Still 5 minutes to go. Here's a turnover.
Good active hands. I'd like to push that a little bit more to try to get an easy one instead of getting in the half court, especially how good NC State has played in the half court defensively.
It's the third turnover for NC State.
And right here, it's just all extra effort. Middlebrooks seeing that there's a contested layup, getting the offensive rebound, putting it back in, and then right here, just a good spin move off DJ, finish underneath.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and I watched that same tape. That time he did a nice job not getting the elbow around the body of the defender, right, but more kind of side to side.
Yeah, and I will say he did a better job there. It wasn't as obvious, but even in that first game against Oklahoma State, I don't know if I would have called it.
I wouldn't have. No, it's a good move.
Got to let the big men play down there.
Middlebrooks out. Dennis Parker back in.
And on that other end, I think Taylor, especially when they trapped right there, it's called corner empty. So there was no one in the corner, and then you had Ben popping to an empty corner. I think he had the opportunity to make that kick to him and get that open three, especially with DJ taking 2 defenders when he's rolling.
Yaniel Rivera, the freshman from Puerto Rico, checks in for ACU.
Rolling the R's there. Nicely done.
You didn't play down there, but you played in Spain.
I did not. A good friend of mine, though, Ben McCauley, played there for many years. Had a good career.
Ten to shoot for Horn. DeGrew has played nice defense last couple of minutes.
Good possession.
And better offense as Horn bails out the Wolfpack with a clutch wing three.
That's one of the frustrating parts. You're trying to, claw back into the game. You put together a good defensive possession, and they're still able to knock down a shot.
Rivera cutting. Traveled. NC State 42-24. The offense really clicking in Raleigh.
And right here is flow action. Golden State runs a lot of this action. They got some good things against Oklahoma State, but NC State has done a good job of switching that flow action. They do a good job of rotating. They've ran it a couple times today, and they're kind of Xing out on the back cut handoff action, and they've been able to take it away.
What are the Wildcats trying to get with that flow action?
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a bump on the guy from the corner. So if they can get that bump, now when he goes to go DHO or a dribble handoff action, there's no help. So they almost have to switch it. So it kind of creates a little bit of confusion. But NC State's doing a really good job of switching it and being sure.
Pull-up jumper. About the only thing that hasn't gone in for Taylor tonight. And DeGrew is fouled on his way to the basket. he'll have a 1-and-1.
I think Abilene Christian's starting to kind of get a little bit more comfortable, starting to attack a little bit and start to draw some fouls and get to the free throw line. They just haven't been able to capitalize at the free throw line so far.
We saw some full court pressure there from them.
Well, they got to change the pace a little bit, especially, being down this many points early on. They're trying to find something where they can change the pace just a little bit.
DeGrew, state champion at St. Augustine High School in New Orleans and named All-State there. 4 points in the opener. Makes both free throws.
Looks like a little bit of zone press, maybe 1-2-2, possibly man. Little 1-2-2 action, just trying to disrupt them and let the shot clock run down a little bit so they can't get set in their offense. Good action there. Cross screen, pinned down, just unable to finish the basket. And again, Abilene Christian doing a solid job on the defense end, being able to push it. And that's what he does right there. He just gets out in transition, gets downhill, especially against Oklahoma State. He kind of forced the issue a lot of the times, and they struggled defending him, especially when he wanted to attack. Yeah, they just got to do a better job, especially they did an okay job of stopping the ball, but you got to communicate on the back end.
Ali Dibba, 9.5 point per game score last year, led him with 15 in Stillwater. He has 6 siblings. All of them play basketball. A couple of them played in the Carolinas. His brothers Mustafa and Abrima both played at Coastal Carolina. Marcel way off. Good help defense comes from Steele. Drive and kick.
And that right there is pretty much, especially with Turquavion and Jarkel being gone, that's kind of what I expected. They don't really have a guy that's going to take you off the bounce, but getting those paint touch, forcing the defense to be in, 1, 2, 3 rotations and getting a good look. That's what they're going to be really good at this year.
That's what makes it really tough, right? It's enough to guard 1 drive or 2 drive, but when you're able to add 3 or 4, eventually it's easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, and then on top of it, everybody gets a touch. I mean, almost everybody there, I think, got a touch. So you feel involved, and you're willing to give a little bit more on the defensive end, especially when you're getting touches on the offensive end.
And basketball is a rhythm game.
Exactly. Got to be in good flow at all times. That's one thing I told you. I don't like media timeout because I feel like it takes away from the flow. I want to keep going. Again, and just a good job defensively. Keep him in front. Forcing a contested 3. Just got to do a good job of finishing with the rebound.
Wave it off. Offensive foul. It's going to be charged to Mo Muaneka. He took the long 3, got the deflection, and cleared out. Although it looked like it was Dibba.
I don't want to be too critical on the officials there. Maybe let them play.
Yeah, they did call that on 13, Muaneka, but I think on that replay you could see it was Dibba who did the clearing out.
But again, NC State's just doing a good job keeping them in front. Even when they do get beat, they're making those extra effort closeouts. Like that last one in the corner was DJ. He was in the paint, but still did a good job closing out and getting a contest on him.
Bill Covington Jr., Ramey Stiens, Anthony Eads are officials tonight. Parker goes 1 for 2. Last touched by Taylor. But how about this? Even going 1 for 2, right? A 20-point lead for NC State in this first half.
I think a lot of it's just coming from them being so aggressive on the offensive end. They're forcing the issue. They're getting to the free throw line, and they're making free throws. So you know, that's a big piece to why they're getting a lead, especially early on here.
It's been really impressive considering the defense we saw ACU play their last time out. Yehan. Big board by Parker. NC State. It's a good shot for Morcell. That was more in flow and in rhythm.
That's a good screen by DJ, getting him open. I know, you know, obviously struggled with his shot last game, made a few early on, but I think that's one that Casey's got to continue to take and continue to take with confidence.
NC State ran enough clock that ACU couldn't really go 2 for 1. Simmons strong inside. And a held ball, possession arrow favoring the Wildcats. Five-second differential, shot clock, game clock.
And again, that's a good job by NC State. Flex action, but they're able to get it in the post. I think Taylor needs to get to a little bit more of a front to get a better position, but again, good flex action out of there. And I think NC State's really doing a good job, especially on the defensive end.
Simmons with his first basket, and NC State will take a timeout. Last possession of the half. What do you want to see here, Scott?
You know, obviously I'd love to see DJ get a post touch here, especially because he can create with the pass. I don't know if they'll have enough time with 7.6 seconds left, but again, any time out of the timeout, this is where coaches need a little bit of execution. They're going to draw something up, at least get some type of good look out of it. And this threw them off a little bit. They went 2-3 zone, so good coaching.
Skip to O'Connell. That'll take us into halftime. NC State offensively clicking here at home. They shoot better than 50% in the first half against a good defensive team and lead it by 18. Trail the Wolfpack by 18. Second half next. Both teams back out on the court at PNC Arena. And we take you back courtside. I'm Andrew Sanders alongside Scott Wood. So glad you could join us here on a Friday night. And Scott, NC State, I know their defense in that first half. I know they scored, you know, almost 50, but the defense is what impressed you.
Yeah, I think the tenacity, especially when they get to the half court, they're keeping their man in front, they're contesting, they're finishing with the rebound. Obviously, the easy thing to talk about is the offense, but I think because they're so aggressive defensively, it's leading to aggressive offense.
And then we talked at the top about how this is such a fun matchup because both these teams like to turn you over. We didn't see a lot of turnovers in the first half. And in fact, especially NC State turned it over just 3 times. I think remarkable against the team as talented defensively as the Wildcats that likes to overplay those passing lanes.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job of just taking care of the ball, as well as when they're getting shots up and missing, they're doing a good job of getting the offensive rebound.
Well, we've got certainly some highlights for you from the first half. And hey, DJ Burns. He scored the first basket for NC State on the first possession. Really never looked back from there. He's got 10.
Yeah, and he's just so smooth. And I think we've talked about it so many times. He's a very tough guy to guard. If you see there, just fading away and finishing that nobody can really guard. Off balance, finishing with a floater. He's just so efficient and so good offensively.
Casey Morcell also with 10 points, 5 of 6 from the floor.
And he started the game really well attacked. And I think because he started with that layup, he kind of got the confidence, was able to get to his pull-up game and knock down a couple of shots. So NC State with an 18-point advantage here as we start the second stanza.
And a summary of the first half. Yeah, the Wolfpack shooting 50% with some well-balanced scoring.
Yeah, and they're just doing a good job, again, just forcing tough shots. I always said the game, you got to make it easier. You got to be able to get good looks, open looks, because it makes the game so much easier for yourself. But NC State's doing a good job making sure everything that gets shot is contested.
Abilene Christian really showed their grittiness in the win against Oklahoma State, right? We're up as many as 18, held on to win after the Cowboys had a furious comeback. What would be your message to them in order to make a furious comeback in this one?
Yeah, I think defensively, just be a little bit more aggressive. You know, they're getting some straight line drives and some finishes at the basket. You got to obviously box out because NC State's getting offensive rebounds, but you're not going to make it up in one possession. You know, this first 5 minutes of the start of the second half is going to be really big for them.
Dibba.
And I think that's what they want to do. They want to get the ball inside, especially with Dibba. He's very physical down low. So, again, just get it in there, play your game. I know the size and physicality of NC State gave them some trouble, but, again, you got to do what you do, and that's one of the things that they do well is get the ball inside.
Horn, Diarra, and Middlebrooks had 2 fouls at halftime. For Taylor, that's just his first. And everybody that has played tonight, except for Dennis Parker, has at least 1 foul for the Wolfpack.
A little bit more of that zone press that we saw at the end of the first half.
DJ Horn able to handle it. Not a true point guard. Didn't play point guard really at Arizona State. He knows he's going to have to play it a little bit more this year.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's a little bit unique about this roster is that they don't have that true point guard. Maybe Michael O'Connell a little bit, but everybody can kind of handle the ball, and everybody's got to take turns bringing it up.
Kind of the same story for ACU, where, as you've seen, Kavion McLean has handled the ball a lot tonight. Madden can do it a little bit. DeGrew can do it a little bit, but it's kind of going to be by committee.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the things, and I think that makes it a little bit, you know, harder to defend. You never know who's bringing it up and is going to initiate the offense, but good job driving there. And again, Taylor was aggressive in the first half and continues it here to the second half. Obviously, I know he wanted to finish that, but they did a good job of staying vertical and making a tough finish.
Foul's going to go on Arion Simmons. And for Simmons, that'll be his 3rd.
And he's another one. I think he brings a lot of energy to this team, especially in the Oklahoma State game. You saw him kind of clapping, smacking the floor, bringing the energy on the defensive, offensive end. Yeah. So you really got to get him because he kind of gets his team going as well.
Double-double, and he was a creator with the pass.
Yeah, man, he's kind of that Draymond Green role for them where he does a little bit of everything. He frustrates you to no end if he's not on your team, but he's a guy that you love to have on your roster.
Burns got that spin move he loves, but missed it. And that's how the Wildcats can get back in this, right?
Yeah, good patience by McLean. Obviously, could have taken that right wing jump shot, but again, waits for the trail man and gets an easy pull up.
Horn picked up his dribble in a tough spot. Diarra comes and helps him out.
This is the Abilene Christian that I saw against Oklahoma State. They're trying to force everything out. They're trying to deny, and they're really pressuring.
And a little too much there. Bettiol is whistled, trying to push Burns even past the 3-point line. And that's something we saw from DJ Burns last year. It almost doesn't matter how far you push him out. If you don't bring a double, he's going to back you down until he ends up getting to where he wants anyways.
Yeah, but I will say, especially as a defender, it makes it a little bit easier to dig and get the ball out of his hands. So especially as a defender, you want to push that out.
Dibba trying to stay in front. He's whistled for the foul. That'll be his first. Madden and Seat playing with 2 along with Allen. And again, Simmons out right now with the 3 fouls. But both teams dealing with a little bit of foul trouble.
That's a tough one. ACU played really good defensive possession.
About 28 seconds.
As long as you could do it. And then they end up getting that foul at the end. But again, you just got to stay vertical. Make them score over you. And then finish with the rebound.
There's not a lot of contact there from Madden for his third foul, but I think that's the key, what you said. You have to stay vertical.
Yeah, and especially they've just had a lot of ticky-tack ones. Like NC State's gotten to the line an awful lot. Taylor's been in attack mode. So at some point, they got to understand, look, show your hands, show the referee that you're chesting up and staying vertical so that you can make the tough contested ones.
Taylor has gone to the line 9 times. He's made all 9. He's got 11 now to lead all scores. That's what great scorers do, right? You get to the free throw line.
Yeah, you got to get there. You got to make it easier on yourself. Again, I think some of the best games that a lot of players have, they see a couple going from the free throw line. Again, he hasn't made a lot from the field, but I know if he gets a couple good looks, especially that confidence he has going 9 for 9 from the line, he's going to start knocking some down. Yeah,
getting to the free throw line is good. That's my analysis. Jaden Taylor, he's pretty good at analysis too, as are you, Scott, of course. But Jaden actually majored in sports media at Butler and told me after his basketball career is done, he'd like to see himself in a studio type role. He's like, you know what? I like watching the guys on TNT. I could see myself doing something like that.
Well, I can tell you, I've enjoyed being here with you. It's a lot of fun. You get to watch some basketball, talk basketball, so I'm sure he'd love it.
Yeah, a little different live versus the studio. He said he might try his hand at what you're doing as well, but studio is where he really thinks it would be the most fun.
I'll try to give him as many pointers as I can on this end. But again, I think that studio may be a little bit less stress.
Dibba and 1. And again, that's the scout on him, right? Get downhill, he gets to the rim, and he gets the foul.
Yeah, and Allen just did a really good job staying in front. Again, he showed his hands. Horn showed the ball in front, was able to swipe it away, and again, push it in transition. And that's what Dibba's best, out in transition, looking to attack, and again, he gets back to the line.
Third foul on Mo Diarra. In comes Middlebrooks, who has 2. The depth of both teams might be tested by the time this one's all said and done.
But this is also how both teams want to play. They want to pressure you. They want to get, up into you defensively. So there's going to be a lot of fouls called. So that's why both teams really have that depth so that they can be prepared for something like this. There's some of that flow action we talked about.
I think both teams certainly pride themselves on being physical and on being tough.
That's good patience right there.
The repost, and he travels.
Got a little bit off balance, but that's really good patience, especially by McClain. He sees the big, throws it to him. They seal a little bit deeper, get it to him. He just got a little bit off balance, but that's ultimately, ECU's game and what they want to get at. ACU.
First ever meeting between NC State and Abilene Christian. They only went to D1 a decade ago, back in 2013. I've already made 2 NCAA tournaments, and keep in mind, they weren't eligible for their first 4 years and part of that transition, something that JMU's going through right now, not bowl eligible. First 4 minutes and change in the books of the second half. The Wolfpack lead by 14. West of Fort Worth on I-20, population of 125,000, and known as the storybook capital of America. They have statues from storybook characters all over the downtown. You got the Grinch.
That's in a personal faith for the Wood family.
And Scott, I know you have a couple little ones at home, so I think a visit to Abilene might be in order.
We would love it. Growing up, I was a big Go Dogs Go. Very simple for me to read, but my kids are obsessed with between A Nightmare Before Christmas right now and the Grinch. So we may have to make a trip.
Orcel hanging in the air and draws the foul on Bettiel.
And again, just DJ's being such a good passer. Again, they use Abilene Christian wants to get into the passing lanes, get to that back cut, and just, again, that verticality that we've been seeing so much, just staying vertical and drawing contact up at the rim.
Simmons ready to check back in. Yeah, big Dr. Seuss guy.
Yeah, I love it. We actually, I don't know if I should admit this on live television, but we've started our Christmas setup, and we have a big Grinch blow up that's on top of
already.
Yes, already. Christmas tree is up, couple of lights. Kids love it though, so I can blame the kids, even though it's deep down it's for me.
I got to tell you, and I know a lot of people listening are probably agree with you, so I don't want to offend them. I would say just my view is always just wait till Thanksgiving, Scott.
I understand.
Day after Thanksgiving, the tree goes up.
I save a week for Thanksgiving, but the first couple weeks in November, and last week in November, and then the rest is just set up for Christmas.
This is a debate I have with my wife, and I hope I'm not being a Grinch. I hope my heart isn't 2 sizes too small.
No chance. But I respect your opinion.
I just love Thanksgiving.
As do I. I just love the holiday cheer. And again, Taylor just being aggressive all night. He's been attacking the rim, able to get the easy one there.
One of the great things about Thanksgiving, of course, we get a lot of quality basketball, right? NC State's going to go to the Las Vegas Showdown. And just before Thanksgiving, Abilene Christian will go to St. Thomas to play in the Paradise Jam. So you get right around that time, you get some good food. As Burns fights and wins the rebound, you get some good food, of course. Taylor, 3, got it. And he gets some good basketball too.
And again, him knocking down some free throws, trusting the shot. He's got some confidence right now. He's got some things going for him. So again, he's feeling good, attacking on the defensive end as well. So he's playing a great game so far today. And again, Michael O'Connell pushing it with the attack. Taylor been aggressive all day, knocking it down.
Line earlier. Now he's made his last 2 shots, but again, this is what we were talking about. You want to be an elite scorer. Get to the line.
Yeah, and he's just been in attack mode from the beginning of this game. Obviously getting the free throw line 9 out of 9 times, coming out in the second half, again, getting that confidence, making a couple at the line, and then obviously knocking down his last 2. So he's getting some confidence.
Taylor already with 16, his career high 24. He set that on New Year's Day of this year against the Georgetown Hoyas. Simmons with the touch.
And I think that he's going to be the one that needs to get things going. He's one of their best players. He's got to get this team going a little bit, bring some energy, and you see a little bit of a 2-3 zone.
Yeah. Scott, now we saw them on the last possession of the first half, which I know you loved, and it made sense to give NC State another look as Horn makes them pay for the zone, but ACU really doesn't play zone.
No, they don't, but again, you just got to mix things up. If you're down 20, a couple things may not be working. So again, coach wants to mix some things up. You just got to have a little bit better closeout, especially on a 41 career three-point shooter.
Just trying to change things and see if that wrinkle could throw NC State off, and Horn immediately makes it happen. Simmons on his way to the rack, and I think he heard you. I think he understands his responsibility as one of the veteran leaders of this team. His team's down. He's going to try to make something happen.
Yeah, he's just a great player for them. Obviously having, I think, 11-11 in the first game. He brings energy. He's a good kind of leader out there that, again, a lot of these guys are looking to. So when he's in attack mode and he looks engaged, he's going to bring a lot of good things to ACU.
3rd foul on Middlebrooks. Coach Tanner, we're talking about switching up the defense. We'll see. Here comes the three-quarter court press.
We've seen a 1-2-2 zone press. Now this one looks like more of a 2-2-1.
Over and back goes Taylor.
And it works, pays off. Again, he's just changing things up a little bit, just kind of keeping NC State on their heels a little bit, trying to figure out, is this the 1-2-2? Is this the 2-2-1? So forcing them into a turnover, ultimately what they're trying to do. So if you're going to claw back into this game, those are the type of, changes you're going to have to make.
Coach Tanner saying defense is the identity of our team. It's something we stress. We want to force teams to take jump shots. I love this quote from him. He said, we don't play man-to-man defense. We play team defense. Yes, they play man-to-man, but it's about as a team, how are we all positionally where we need to be?
Yeah, it's good team defense there by NC State. They just weren't able to get the loose ball.
Simmons feeling it, gives it up, finds seat. Nearly an and one. He'll shoot 2
And we kind of talked about that Draymond Green role. Again, he attacks and still creates. You know, he doesn't necessarily finish with the basket, but again, makes a good pass, sends him to the free throw line.
Yeah, I love his game. Just the ability to score, rebound, but also create for teammates.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. I always said it. I was lucky enough to be at training camp with Draymond Green for a little while. When he's on your team, you love him. As soon as he's off your team, you absolutely hate playing against him. So he's one of those that you're going to love to have.
Gives you a lot of headaches.
Of course. But again, he's just one of those that you love to play with.
See, the former Oklahoma Gatorade Player of the Year. He probably agrees with you. His birthday is Christmas Day, Scott, so he probably agrees with you. We didn't get a chance to ask him, but he probably, you know, say, hey, let's get in the Christmas spirit.
I just want to know, does he get a double up on the presents?
Yeah, of course.
Some good activity there by ACU. Just, again, you gotta get those 50-50 balls, especially when you're down in a game, unable to get it, and Taylor feeling it right now, knocking down another shot.
He hadn't had a great night from the fields, at least in the first half. Second half has been his half. He's got 19. No answer from McClain, but he gets his own board.
And Dibba kind of keeping it alive there.
That is such a good shot from Cameron Steele.
And he's got a pretty touch, especially, you know, he'll give a lot of big guys trouble that have to come out and cover that.
He was their leading three-point shooter as a sophomore, made 43s. Last year, shot 42%. He made 35 of them. Diarra taking him inside. And that's bully ball.
That's just a grown man move, just backing him down until he gets in the paint and finishing. I'd recommend sending help, especially anytime you get that deep down in there. Send some help, and a great finish by Diarra.
Christian 1-0 on the year after the 64-59 win in Stillwater. Their first Power 5 conference win since they were a 14 seed in the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. Coach said, man, I tell you what, these guys, they played their tails off. We talked about composure. We had some moments where we lost it a little bit. We knew at halftime they, Oklahoma State, were going to throw a punch, but we just got back up, and at the end of the day, we kept our composure when things weren't going our way. Those guys found a way, and a really positive sign in game number 1 in a hostile environment to be able to come out with a win. And really, it was on the strength of the defense, right? They held the Cowboys to just 59 points. And as you can see so far in this game, that hasn't been the case. NC State already surpassing that mark.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that they did, especially in the Oklahoma State game, they played a good game for almost 38 minutes.
That's a good pass from Simmons.
And then just those last 2 minutes, a little bit of pressure got to them, or they probably would have won that game, you know, by 10 to 15 points. So they kind of let them crawl back in there.
Yeah, watching that game, it was pretty apparent that Abilene Christian controlled that game.
Yeah, and they're going to be a good team going forward. You know, I know they're down quite a bit here, but NC State's just playing a great game, offensively and defensively. And, you know, they haven't had any lapses where they haven't scored the ball. So, you know, NC State's just controlled it from, you know, the start of this game till now. So, you know, obviously it's easy to get your head down and say, you know what, we're getting beat, but they're still giving energy. They're still playing hard, which is something that their coach wants to see.
Miscommunication between Simmons and Madden. Something we talked about with NC State, their depth and their balance, right? It was O'Connell the other night who was 4 of 5 from 3, but tonight, you know, Horn 5 of 8 with 13 points. Morcell 11 points, and obviously Jaden Taylor, he's had a really good second half after he got to the line of ton in the first half. He's got 19, so pretty much exactly what you were expecting to see from an NC State team when some of those shooters like Taylor and Horn are on a little more than they were in game 1 against the Citadel.
Yeah, and I think, again, it just makes them so much more dangerous that you just don't know who is going to be on that night. You know, you've got 5 guys you have to scout. You know, they're all capable to go for 10 to 15 points. So, you know, like O'Connell the other night had a great game, and he had mentioned in his press conference, you know, it may not be my night every night. It could be, Jaden Taylor. It could be DJ Horn. But you always got to be ready and understand, I may not get as many shots as I normally do, but it's for the better of the team.
You played on a team that went to the Sweet 16 that I think had a lot of balance in its scoring.
Yeah, we had, I think it was 5, maybe even my senior year, we had 6 that averaged between 10 and 13 points. And, a lot of things, especially looking back on it, I was with Kendall Marshall a little bit for a summer league and a couple other guys that had mentioned, it just makes it a little bit harder because, even if we take away one guy, somebody else is there that has the opportunity to score 20.
Morcell. Boy, NC State just relentless on the offensive glass.
And that's what Mo Diarra brings. We mentioned it in the first game. He's just attacking, constantly in attack mode, whether it's, offensive rebound, defensive rebound, blocking shots. He's bringing extra possessions, getting it to the rim. Casey's doing a good job banging in there, and it's still nobody gives up. Even though they're up, 20 points, they're still out there battling.
And for the Wildcats, right, how do you get a defensive stop? Well, they like to turn you over. State's turning over just 5 times. So they're not forcing the turnovers. The other way to get a stop, you have to get a defensive rebound. And NC State has 11 offensive rebounds. And that's too many if you're Coach Tanner.
You got to, even in the second chance point, they may not have as many as what they probably could have, but it's resulting in all these fouls.
Yeah.
They're getting in foul trouble. Someone like Simmons has to take a seat because they're not getting those boards.
Yeah, Simmons on the bench with the 4 fouls. Madden and Bentiol have 3. Oh, McClain rejected by Morcell.
Great job noticing the back screen and being in help side, and Casey comes, eliminates that shot.
Yeah, you got to find him. Burns does for 3.
It's amazing when you have a really good defensive stop. You come down, and even though Casey hasn't been shooting the 3 well, knocks it down. It just shows how defense transitions into the offensive end.
Yeah, Scott, I know you're a high school baseball player. It's like you make a good play defensively. It seems like you're always leading off the next inning.
Yeah, that necessarily wasn't always the case for me. I was a much better defender when it came to the baseball. But, my teammates always picked me up, so just not a good hitter.
Well, no signal here, I guess, on the sideline was Taylor. All right, this is worth another look. First the block.
And he comes across, starts outside the paint. Obviously, his man's coming off a down screen, but he still sees that the ball's coming across. And again, DJ just being an unselfish passer, hits him in stride, knocks it down.
That's a professional block too, right? You don't throw it into the 3rd row, put it off the glass so you can get a chance going the other way.
And there's an art to it. I'm telling you, if you can get that extra possession, a lot of people just want to send it. But, if you can get your hands back on that ball and get an extra possession out of it, that's where it's at. And again, the tenacity of the defensive end, creating to get out in the offensive court, and they're just getting easy ones.
And Breon Pass in his first minutes got the steal, and Diarra with the finish. This has been an impressive performance on both ends for the Wolfpack.
And they're doing it, obviously full court pressure, but also in the half court.
Taylor's got the touch tonight. 22 points in his 2nd career game with NC State.
That rim down here is slowly getting a little bit bigger for everybody on NC State's roster.
It's an 11-0 run over the last 3 minutes. Defense, offense.
The hard part is, NC State probably wants to get some game film that they can break down, but I just feel like, obviously there's a couple parts on the defensive end that I know he'll probably show in the film room as well as on the offensive end, but they've done just such a good job of defending and transitioning that into the offense. And even in their half-court offense, I feel like they've done a really good job of just being patient, whether it's giving it to DJ and him creating, becoming that point center type of role. But again, they've just done a really good job tonight. I feel like they've kind of eliminated the stuff that ACU really wants to do on the offensive end.
Everybody here gets a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
State and Abilene Christian. Andrew Sanders back with Scott Wood. The Wolfpack up 29, playing well here in their second game of the season. Scott, this is a matchup of the Wolfpack and the Wildcats. It's also a matchup, I think, of, were you a country music fan growing up in Indiana?
So the truth is, I just now got into some country music.
Okay.
I did not listen to much when I was younger.
Well, I tell you what, these two schools, an elite matchup of country music singers.
Well, I know Scotty McCreery is one.
Yeah, Scotty McCreery, NC State alum. How about Abilene Christian, Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn?
That's pretty impressive. I'm taking Scotty McCreery all day, though.
Allen had a good first half. He's been quiet so far here in the second. That's his 10th point to lead all scorers for the Wildcats. You don't have to take anybody in that matchup. You can just like them both.
Yeah, they're both solid.
Okay.
I've listened
Brooks and Dunn is fantastic.
I've listened to quite a few Brooks and Dunn now that I'm a little bit older. They kind of came out with that album where I think it was Casey Musgraves and some other people were on it. So I've gotten introduced to it, but I'm also a good friend of Scotty McCreery. So I gotta.
Oh, I didn't know you were friends with
go-to.
them. Okay.
Yeah, always got to be my go-to. He was also here for a stint while I was here. So every once in a while, oh yes.
Lob, Tiara! Well, that would have brought the house down. He almost brought the rim down.
He did about bring the rim down. I think, honestly, when he hit his chest, he sent him up a little bit higher. Gosh. That's what we call an athlete. But I also give credit. Don't give up the dunk.
Yeah,
go in there, get
with
the
the
foul,
challenge.
make him earn it at the line.
That is his 4th foul.
Good play out of the timeout, too. A little ball screen, back screen action.
Second free throw good. NC State able to set up its pressure. Abilene Christian going to play some of its younger guards here. DeGrew. Uaneka. Shot maybe blocked from behind by pass. Or pardon me, Taylor.
He's been good all night, especially on the defensive end, too. You know, we've talked a lot about the offense. But even at the beginning of the game, you know, he was picking up the point guard full court, turning them, making it tough to get into the offense.
Betziel staying in with the 4 fouls, gets the lay-in.
This is that action NC State ran a lot last year. The Iverson cut, side pick and roll, get it to DJ in the post and just let him work.
Off glass?
He didn't mean to do that.
Off glass, Scott?
He did not mean to do that.
I don't know. I mean, he's so good. He's so skilled. You got to question it. Normally, I'd say there's no way he meant to do that.
The bank's not open this late.
I'm kidding. I don't think he meant to do that, but it still went in.
Sometimes when you just got that soft touch, you know, things happen. Good things happen for you.
Nice spin move by J.V. Seat from Edmond Memorial High School in Edmond, Oklahoma. Same hometown as NC State women's basketball player Lacey Steele.
And he's known to being a really good shooter, but putting the ball on the floor there, getting to the rim, good pump fake, finish. Good fundamental basketball.
Burns the assist on the Morcell basket. 80 points and counting for the Wolfpack. Seat to the rim again, follows it up.
Yeah, I think he got that offhand and got Diarra in the lip.
All right, from this angle.
Yeah, no chance he did that on purpose. Look at Cam Woods in the background on the bench. Look at the face he makes. And here's Casey just doing a good job cutting, getting the defender off his feet and finishing. I will tell you, if I played with a DJ Burns, I'd always cut, because he is a great passer.
Maybe an underappreciated part of his game.
And here he is again. You just got to kind of move. You see DJ setting screens away and everybody cutting.
DeGrew, I think, got tangled up with his own teammate, ended up falling over out of bounds. Because if you're not a good passer, and being a good passer in this sense is not just about picking up assists, right? It's just having good spatial awareness and understanding when double teams are coming and where they're coming from.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that hockey assist. You may not always get the assist, but you force a defense into rotation, and that's what you want to do. Anytime you're on the offensive end, you got to create an advantage somewhere. So you got to get them into rotation, which ultimately leads to good shots.
Diarra into double figures again, rebounding. He lost that one. Yehan sends a screen for Allen, who comes in to catch it, trying to drive Parker. Does. Baseline, and he's swatted. Rebound tipped out all the way to midcourt.
I think that's one of the things, especially early on, that you've seen this year. Parker just being an elite defender, gets his hands in there just a little bit too much, maybe a little bit lazy, but he's going to be an elite defender for NC State for years to come.
Speaking of, so look at the block.
With the left hand, too. Offhand.
This is the howl for foul promotion. The fans get a free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich if Aiden Yehan misses both. And he quiets the crowd. The 6'10 senior from Dublin, Ireland. He was a soccer player in Ireland. He switched to basketball at age 12. He moved to Brooklyn at age 13 and became not just a top 100, but a top 50 recruit. In fact, he was the top recruit in Chris Mack's first real recruiting class at Louisville. Spent 2 years there in the Ville, and then 1 at Grand Canyon, which is in the WAC, before grad transferring now to ACU.
Well, I would say that was a good business decision for him to get out of soccer. With that size, athletic, can move, and he looks like he's built like a rock.
Yeah, his nickname is the Irish Hulk.
Yeah, he looks pretty physical.
Seeds 3 ball off the front rim. There is a Yehan with the rebound. Muaneka comes in with the finish, and that's what we were talking about actually at halftime, right? The team comes out, layup lines. He threw down an incredible dunk.
Yeah, everybody does the end of layup line dunk to send them into the bench, and he's the one that did it for them. And you could tell that he's probably came close to knocking out a few teeth on the rim.
It was one of those I wasn't necessarily expecting. It came out of nowhere. I said, wow, that was awesome. And I'm glad that everybody watching got a chance to see it as well.
Looks like a little bit of David Skywalker there with the ups.
We talked about Mo Diarra in his NC State debut, and pretty much same thing tonight. I mean, he is going to be a double-double threat, it seems like, game in, game out.
Yeah, and I guarantee in that timeout, he was begging coach to let him get one more point. But again, I just think that's something that he's always going to bring night in, night out. You know, he's going to be right at that 10-point mark, 10 rebound. It's winning plays. Those are the type of guys you need on your team to win games.
Ernest Ross with the foul. Both teams in the double bonus, so Seat will shoot 2. Not a shooting foul. I'm not sure if he was behind the three-point arc or not, but it should be 2 shots here. And the officials conferring, yes, 2 shots. Seat played 13 minutes against Oklahoma State, scored 5 points. And this is an opportunity. We've seen the Wildcats, as there is a question. I think at the table they were wondering if this is not a 3-shot foul. It was not called a shooting foul. I assume this is what the conversation is. We can't hear it. But for the Wildcats, they played 13 players tonight. And this is a chance for Coach Tanner to give some guys some minutes and really see what he has. I mean, he knows he has a lot of veterans, but some of the younger players getting an opportunity.
Yeah, and they're really deep. Even in the first game of the year, I think they went 11 deep, which was a pretty close game. So, again, it's early in the season. A lot of these coaches want to see what they have on their benches, get some guys some minutes, see how they react when the big lights come on. So, you know, it's early in the season. Everybody's still trying to get a feel for each other and what they got.
Seat. Air ball.
Good job by Breon Pass. Initially got beat on the first bounce, but recovered and made Seat take a tough contested one.
And obviously, as you get into, you know, December, January, that rotation's really going to shorten.
Yeah, most coaches want to go kind of that 8-9 route. Now, I think with the style of play of both of them, I think ideally, you know, maybe even 9 to 10, especially with how hard they play on the defensive end. So mostly from what I've seen, a lot of the really good teams usually go about that 8 to 9 mark.
Jordan Snell into the game along with KJ Keats. This is Coach Tanner's son, Colby Tanner, sophomore. Seeing his first minutes of the season. Rivera, tough all the way. And at this point, I think coaches, as Alex Nunnally comes in for NC State, both coaches probably just want to see good ball movement, right? Try to put together a couple good possessions.
Yeah, no, this is the time I always kind of told the referees too, even though we're trying to get, you know, 2 missed free throws for chicken. You know, dinner reservations are on the line here, you know, trying to speed it up a little bit. But, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, especially some of these walk-ons, what a lot of people don't realize is how much time they put in. I had a lot of walk-ons on my roster. Shout out to Stotts Battle is one of them. They're there an hour before I am, going through the scout team. So they put in just as much work. So any opportunity they get to come in here and get minutes, you know, they want to come out here and try and shine.
Lashai Hill. This is his first collegiate game. And he's going to face the crowd as loud as they've been all night.
Chicken for everybody.
Gonna be a winner chicken dinner kind of night for NC State as Ross almost came through and cleared out. DeGrew the other way. He almost missed the finger roll.
1 minute.
That's 2 games for NC State. And the chicken promotion's hit twice.
You know, I hate to say it, they probably should do it the first half too. That crowd gets pretty loud when it comes to winning some chicken.
Tanner, count it and 1.
And that'll be a little teaching moment. Coach Keats put his head down as soon as he drew that foul. You just want to contest and let him have that one.
A highlight for the sophomore guard. Colby scored 8 points last year. He scored 4 on 1 play.
And he hasn't missed on the season.
That is awesome. Fouling the three-point shooter, no, but for Colby Tanner, that's one he'll smile about.
I think this is a good one for NC State. You know, they're going to go into the film room. They're going to find a couple things. But all in all, I think for a 40-minute game, they did a really good job tonight. And, you know, ACU obviously is going to take some things out of the film room. But, you know, coming off that Oklahoma State win, you know, they still got things to look forward to and be proud of.
So NC State improves to 2-0. It was a really impressive offensive night, especially against a good defensive team in Abilene Christian. But it was really, as we talked about halftime, that remained the story in the second half. The NC State defense keyed its offensive success.
Yeah, they were just suffocating all night. You know, whether it was in the full court, whether it was in the half court, they transitioned that into some great offense. You know, they stayed in attack mode all day, and the score shows it.
4 players scored in double figures for NC State, led by Jaden Taylor's Wolfpack high of 22 points. For our great crew here in Raleigh, and my partner Scott Wood, I'm Andrew Sanders saying so long. NC State wins it.